militam yena tasmai Sri Gurue Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandayam Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagadatam Sagana Raganathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopaka Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavani Shvare Vishubhana Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarabhyascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mare Kabando Matsangin Madguro Man Madana Mad Nistaraka Mad Bhagya Madananda Namostite Asadu Sadhu Tadayanati Nicho Chatakara Hanamunchakara Chinmam Prem Narit Katayospura Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, Hare Krishna. This is the life, the nectar, the real Hare Krishna movement is right here in Bhagavatam class. I'm telling you right here, right now. Everything else is something else we might get ourselves caught in, but this is the real Hare Krishna movement. Where did we leave off? We were between 5 and 11, right? 9?
Yeah, I thought 9 or 10. Right?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Because we talked about the 8 vasus.
Yeah, I didn't do any research on that, unfortunately. Yes, so, I had a beautiful day today, and I didn't get to read the last 2 days, and I read Bhagavatam for like 2-3 hours. It was just so nice. Read 2 chapters, practically. So nice. And, it really is, like this verse I say every day before class. Madeka Bando Mat Sangin Mad Guru Man Mahadana Mad Nistaraka Mad Bhagya Mad Ananda Namostate. Oh Srimad Bhagavatam, Madeka Bando, you're my only friend. Madeka Bando Mat Sangin, you're my closest companion. Mad Guru, you're my spiritual master. Mad Guru Man Mahadana, you're my greatest dan, you're my greatest wealth. Man Mahadana. Mad Bhagya, you're my greatest fortune. Mad Bhagya, Mad Bhagya. Now I'm getting all confused. Madeka Bandha Matsami Madguru Mahadana Mad Nistaraka. Mad Nistaraka, you're my savior. Madananda Namostute, you're my source of happiness. In second here. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hey, Prabhu, real quick, do you know if we have a white car that says something like HHR on the left and on the right? It's a white one. It's not the cruiser. Ours?
No.
In the back?
No.
It's not ours.
That I know of. I'm in the middle of giving a class right now.
Oh, whoops, sorry, because they're about to tow something. Okay, just want to make sure. Thank you.
Haribo.
Who wrote those verses?
It's not in Goswami. Yeah. Can we give some reviewing? So one of the points that we're making here is I just want to make this point. We're on 9. We're on 10 actually. Is that a point that's made here in this whole chapter we're dealing with is how to leave one's body. Also that Krishna couldn't relieve Yudhisthira of the grief from the war. Krishna couldn't relieve Yudhisthira of the grief. Actually, the grief in Yudhisthira could not be healed even by Krishna's words. And Vyasa was there, all these great sages were there, yet they couldn't heal Yudhisthira. Why? Why couldn't they heal Yudhisthira? Why couldn't they console him with spiritual knowledge, even though Krishna is the ultimate spiritual authority? And we saw that Krishna was able to enlighten Arjuna. Why was he not able to enlighten Yudhisthira?
No battle was fought for the sake of Yudhishthira's school.
No, because Krishna wanted to glorify Bhishma. Krishna wanted Bhishma to have the glory of being able to do this service.
Actually do that for you.
Yeah. Also, point to be made here is that even though Bhishma was lying on a bed of arrows, he was able to greet everybody sweetly with sweet words. So Vaishnava etiquette is the ornament of a devotee. So the key to Vaishnava etiquette is not in the, so-called, we can say there's so many different things and activities we do. It's in the heart. How do we have that heart of a Vaishnava? And it comes and it goes in us. Sometimes we see people with very good Vaishnava etiquette at certain points and sometimes not so good at other points. But it really comes down to the way we deal with each other with love, speak about each other with love, all of that good stuff that we're supposed to do. So he did so with sweet loves and with hearty expressions. We see that in different devotees, as they were leaving their body, like Bhakti Tirtha Swami or Kadamakanda Swami, they were, being so wonderful with the devotees, even though they weren't able to do anything physically. So a real Vaishnava can make you feel happy by his heart. I am not on that level, so I apologize. Let's do verse number 10, huh? Krishnam cha tat pravagya asinam jagarishwaram Garistam pujayam asa mayayopata vigraham. Lord Sri Krishna is situated in everyone's heart, yet he manifests his transcendental form by his internal potency. This very Lord was sitting before Bhishma Dev, and since Bhishma Dev knew of his glories, he worshipped him duly. So points to make here is that Krishna is called Jagat Ishwaram, he's the Lord of the universe. He's situated in everybody's heart, he's Hridistam, and he manifests his transcendental form by internal potency, Mayopata Vigraham. The Lord's omnipotency is displayed by his simultaneous presence in every place. He is present always in his eternal abode, Goloka Vrindavan, and still he is present in everyone's heart, and even within every invisible atom. When he manifests his internal transcendental form in the material world, he does so by his internal potency. The external potency or material energy has nothing to do with his eternal form. All these truths were known to Sri Bhishma Dev, who worshipped him accordingly. Yes, Prabhu.
I still don't understand the connection between Bhishma Dev and why Maharaj Yudhishthira was not satisfied.
Because Bhishma Dev is going to explain spiritual knowledge to Yudhishthira. And so Krishna wanted to glorify Bhishma Dev by having Bhishma Dev have this moment where he's enlightening Yudhishthira that we're going to read about.
Oh.
So therefore, Krishna was unable to give him any counsel by Krishna's arrangement, just as Arjuna became bewildered, which Arjuna can't become bewildered because he's a pure devotee, so that Krishna can speak the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna himself was unable to perform this activity so he can glorify his devotee. And so the world can see his devotee speak this knowledge. That make sense?
Yeah.
Thank you. Point to be made here is that we want to work under the internal energy. We don't want to work under the external energy. That means everything. Our marriages, our houses, everything can be actually in the internal potency when we become pure devotees of the Lord. That means we work together to serve Krishna. And we have to think that pure devotional service, and this really comes into the way we deal, and it's very painful when you're not in that circumstance. But pure devotional service is defined by Rupa Goswami's Anyabhilashita Shunyam Jnanam Karmani Navritam Anukulyena Krishnana Shilanam Bhakti Ruttama. Pure devotional service is that which is free of material desire, meaning sinful desire, actually. That's the point that Prabhupada translates it to. Sinful desires meaning we want illicit sex, intoxication, media, and gambling. So anybody can be a pure devotee if they're not sinful. Sinfulness is a disqualifier for being a pure devotee. So when one is living a pure devotee life, whether one is whatever position they may be in, Anyabhilashita Shunyam, Jnanam Karmani Navritam, free from jnana and karma. So karma means I want activities that are pertaining to the body. I want to increase my bodily wealth, my bodily pleasure, anything like that. Jnanam Karmani Navritam. It's not what we want. We don't want jnana. We don't want this philosophical, speculative knowledge. We don't want to just merge into the Lord. We don't want to sit and speculate, which a lot of people want to do, and they get great pleasure from speculating. Speaking of that, I don't know if you saw the email with the Prabhu from the campus. He's very upset that I'm speaking. He wants you to speak.
Didn't see that. Dr. Jane?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I don't know. So you just look at that and tell me what to do.
Okay.
Anyways, jnanas. We don't need no jnanis. And it's anukulyena Krishnana Shila Uttama. So this pure devotional service is pleasing to Krishna. You can do a lot of stuff. Okay, you can chant japa. You can do all kinds of book distribution. You can do all those things. But if you don't deal correctly, if you talk badly about devotees, you will not experience the first symptoms of devotional service. You see, you have to be able to deal nicely. That's what we work on. That is sweeter to Krishna than anything, is when we see devotees dealing nicely, just like our Parameshwar Das, so humble, sweet, dealing with people. And we try to be that way, let us deal nicely, let us have sweetness with each other. And when we really work at that, that's what pleases Krishna. And then on top of that, we spread that. That's what pleases Krishna. That's going to give Krishna pleasure. That's going to give us pleasure. So all family life, whatever it is, it can be turned into Vaikuntha if we simply work together to please Krishna and we offer our interactions to Krishna. Because you can do so much stuff, but if it's not pleasing Krishna, it's not good. So I gave a good class, but then I offended so many devotees. Did I please Krishna? No. Therefore, I won't experience these symptoms of devotional service. There's 6 symptoms of devotional service. The first 2 are Kleshagni and Shubhada. Kleshagni means I don't feel any material misery. I'm happy. When we're around pure devotees and we're associated with pure devotees, we're happy. But when we're not around pure devotees and we're not associating in that proper way, we're unhappy. We don't have Kleshagni. We're feeling the misery. We see that actually. See, like Jesus Christ, he was being crucified. Still, he was actually God conscious. Of course, his body was suffering. Paridas Thakur, as he was being beaten in the marketplaces, described that he would occasionally his eyes would twinkle, and he would smile at the people beating him.
Hebrews says, for the joy that was set before him, Christ endured the cross. So yeah, he's looking at the impact or the effects. Right?
Yeah, so beautiful. Okay, any questions? Next 11. Pandu putra nupasinan prashraya prema sangatan abhyachastanuragashrer andi bhutena chakshusha. The sons of Maharaj Pandu were sitting silently nearby, overtaken with affection for their dying grandfather. Seeing this, Bhishmadev congratulated them with feeling. There were tears of ecstasy in his eyes, for he was overwhelmed by love and affection. Someone could purport it up.
Maharaj Pandu died. His sons were all small children, and naturally they were brought up under the affection of elderly members of the royal family, specifically by Bhishmadeva. Later on, when the Pandavas were grown up, they were cheated by cunning Duryodhana and company, and Bhishmadeva, although he knew that the Pandavas were innocent and were unnecessarily put into trouble, could not take the side of the Pandavas for political reasons. At the last stage of his life, when Bhishmadeva saw his most exalted grandson, headed by Maharaj Yudhishthira, sitting very gently at his side, the great warrior grandfather could not check his loving tears, which were automatically flowing from his eyes. He remembered the great tribulations suffered by his most pious grandsons. Certainly, he was the most satisfied man because of Yudhishthira's being enthroned in the place of Duryodhana, and thus he began to congratulate them.
There's an important point to realize here is that devotees, my dear devotees, we may find ourselves in weird circumstances sometimes. And if you're still young, you may find yourself in weird stuff yet. We'll get there, trust me. We may find ourselves in some weird stuff sometimes, and it may force us to act weird, quite frankly. But let us not stop chanting and following this Krishna consciousness. You see, we chant our 16 rounds, we follow these regulative principles strictly, we serve Prabhupada, we offer everything to Guru and Krishna, what we can. We're not going to be perfect. There's going to be mess ups. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be hurt feelings sometimes. But in the end, Krishna will take us back to Godhead if we have that bhajate mam ananyabhak, this unflinching devotion to God. And at no point will we feel ourselves worthy of the mercy. I think, in fact, as I've gone deeper into Krishna consciousness, it's just a deeper revelation of how fallen I am. It's every day, it's kind of like, wow, Kirtaneshwar. Wow. It's like each day is just a deeper realization of how, deeply immersed you are in material energy and how really it's Vasudevam Sapramiti. It's only Krishna's mercy. Vasudevam. Krishna's everything and only his mercy will save me. So let us just be happy, that we have Krishna's mercy. Live a life. Follow principles and just live a good life. Have a happy life. Go for it. Go for the situation where you can serve Krishna easiest. Take the chance. Serve Krishna. Okay. Some purport, did we read? No. Oh, we didn't even. We're on 12, right?
Yes.
Okay. Aho kastam aho nyayam yadyuyam dharmanandana divitum na kata kleshtam vipra dharmasyutashraya. Ishmadev said, oh, what terrible sufferings and what terrible injustices you good souls suffer for being the sons of religion personified. You do not deserve to remain alive under those tribulations, yet you were protected by the Brahmanas, God, and religion. Wow, what a beautiful purport. Okay, let's do some purport. Maharaj Yudhishthira was disturbed due to the great massacre in the battle of Kurukshetra. Bhishmadev can understand this, and therefore he spoke first of the terrible sufferings of Maharaj Yudhishthira. He was put into difficulty by injustice only, and the battle of Kurukshetra was fought just to counteract this injustice. Therefore, he should not regret the great massacre. He wanted to point out particularly that they were always protected by the Brahmanas, the Lord, and religious principles. As long as they were protected by these three important items, there was no cause for disappointment. Thus, Bhishmadev encouraged Maharaj Yudhishthira to dissipate his despondency. As long as a person is fully in cooperation with the wishes of the Lord, guided by the bona fide Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, and strictly following religious principles, one has no cause for despondency. However, trying the circumstances of life, Bhishmadev, as one of the authorities in the line, wanted to impress this upon the Pandavas. So, if you protect Dharma, Dharma will protect you. And that's I'm realizing that more and more how, Prabhupada's guiding us, and we take Prabhupada's guidance, and that's it. We're going to be Prabhupada's men. We're going to follow this process. We're going to chant our rounds. We're going to read. Then whatever really terrible or horrifying or just sickening circumstances we may go through, we will be victorious. We'll make it because we're following Prabhupada. It's so powerful. Like Guru Maharaj once said that we shouldn't break our principles. Everything should break upon our principles. Everything should break upon our principles. And so when we have that principle of, we follow these four regulative principles, and let everything break upon them. Let everything break upon the fact that we're devotees of Krishna. And that whatever happens, we may not live our life the way we think it's going to go. We may have changes in situation, in temple, out of temple, up or down. Things are going to change. But if we hold fast to Prabhupada's guidance, we're going to be protected by the Lord and living by the Shastra. So we'll always be protected. We'll always be protected in that way. Any questions on that? Shares on that? Any realizations on that?
I think devotees go through a lot because Krishna gives devotees a lot to deal with, because so that they don't become comfortable in the material world, or thinking that they can enjoy the material world. Right? So, but they're not taking out the verse. So It's like the karma that you would normally take many births to burn up. It's all condensed into one lifetime. So there's certain reactions there, there's certain purifications that go on.
Yeah, it's fast. It's like a lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. We're going to go through a lot. And I find myself personally, I find myself in trying circumstances sometimes. And I more or less just realized, that, I had a whole sheet of goals just recently. Last week, I had this big sheet of goals, all these things I wanted to do in my, devotional life. And I took them, I lit them on fire. I took a new piece of paper out and I said, 3 goals. Please, Krishna. Loving relationships. Positive devotee association. That's it. I don't care anymore. That's all I want in life. I don't care about anything else. Preaching will come if you do those things. I believe that fully and wholeheartedly. I had all these goals, material. I realized they were material. They looked spiritual, but they were material. I realized all of these facilities, Varnashram, whatever it is, they're all just serving that goal. I just heard today a purport in the first canto I was reading the chapter we were reading in the car, and we didn't finish. I wanted to get to a certain point there, but about Kali, Parikshit. But it says, the ultimate goal of life is just the association of devotees, good devotees, And I've been really thinking about, you've heard of the Jolly Swami, you probably met him. I never met him or anything, but I think any of us have, but he's a famous devotee in this company. Apparently very, what?
Shiva Ram.
Sridhar Maharaj.
Oh, Sridhar Maharaj.
Shiva Ram is not the Jolly Swami. Sridhar Maharaj is the Jolly Swami.
Right, Shiva Ram Maharaj. He's left his body.
Yeah. Sridhar Ramaswamy is also probably jolly, but he's also very intense. I've been around him. He's intense. He likes to growl a lot in kirtan. And one of the things he said is just, how are you jolly all the time? He said, I just keep myself around positive association. So I'm really, really relishing all of your association tonight. Thank you very much for being here. Okay. Let's go to. So, when we have that, just to go back to finish that point, is we can suffer all kinds of injustices, but if we just always remain to our principles, don't let them break us. Don't let it stop. People say this famous verse, Matra Sparshasta Konteya Sitoshna Sukha Dukada Agamai Paino Nityas Tam Satiksha Bharata, and they think that means that, mom died, but this is happening. It's really bad. It doesn't mean we pretend to be robots. It means that we don't waver in our duty. We'll still feel. It's good to feel, actually, in a sense, but it's not good to be overwhelmed by the feeling, because feelings of love, the feelings of affection, the feelings of sadness and death, attraction, they're all going to come in life. Let us not become too happy, too sad. Let us remember that they're all facility for our serving and pleasing Krishna. That's it. They're all facility for our serving and pleasing Krishna. And I heard this, I'm sorry, I have to share this. I'm going to share it tomorrow during Krishna Co. I'll be speaking. But I'm sharing it now as a preview. There's a beautiful part of the first canto wherein Yudhisthira or Parikshit Maharaj approaches Dharma, the bull who had been chopped up. 3 of his legs were gone. He said, who did this to you? And he said, it could be my karma. It could be material nature. Could be so many things. But actually, I don't want to. He didn't want to say. He didn't blame. Kali was sitting there with the sword. He didn't want to blame Kali. The point is being made is that actually it is the Lord behind everything. All the circumstances are Krishna. We can only see that. Every feeling we have in our heart is put there because of Krishna, even the bad ones, even the dark ones, even the material desires. And that's what, I know there's a verse in the Bible that I really love where it says, God says, I placed those desires in your heart before your birth. And I think, that's Maya, right? But no, it's not Maya when we see Krishna behind it. The desire may be positive for Krishna consciousness or negative, but still it's placed there by God to help us come closer to him. because God is Suridam Sarvabhutanam. So whether it's a positive or negative desire, or it's favorable or unfavorable, it may be favorable for one, it's not favorable for another. Still, it's placed there by God. We have to see Krishna behind it. We have to see Krishna behind it. There is nothing but Krishna. Okay, let's go to the next verse. Samstite tirate pandau prita bala prajavadu yusmat krite bahun kleshan prapta tvokvati muhu. As far as my daughter-in-law Kunti is concerned, upon the great general Pandu's death, she became a widow with many children, and therefore she suffered greatly. And when you were grown up, she suffered a great deal also because of your actions. Purport.
The sufferings of Kunti Devi are doubly lamented. She suffered greatly because of early widowhood and to get her minor children brought up in the royal family. When her children were grown up, she continued to suffer because of her son's actions. So her suffering continued. This means that she was destined to suffer by providence. This one has to tolerate without being disturbed.
Who here's realized that I'm destined to suffer by providence before? I realize that sometimes. I'm like, uh-oh, I have a difficult life. Now there's good and bad. But Kunti says, Vipada Shamita Shashva, Tattva Tattva Jagad Guru. Bhavato Darshanam Yat Yad, Apuno Bhavadarshanam, let them come again and again. Don't pray like that. They'll come either way, trust me. Prabhupada actually said, one time I was saying that prayer in front of the deities for a while, and I was thinking, I stopped. This is getting really intense. I don't know, I want to say this was a dangerous prayer to say. Okay, Krishna, I'm good. Don't hit me anymore.
Do not check our home.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Should be a warning on that. Antidote. Dear neophyte devotees, do not imitate Queen Kunti. No, Prabhupada actually said once, one devotee was saying, Prabhupada, should we pray like this? And Prabhupada said, no, not necessary. They will come all on their own.
Yeah, I was going to say, so usually it's going to happen.
No, it's just a prop. No, it's a prop. It's just here to hold the mic for the computer and make me look cool. We're at 14 now? Time is the cause. Sarvam kalakritam manye babatam cha yadar ariyam sapalo yad vashe loko vayar eva ganavalai. In my opinion, this is all due to inevitable time, under whose control everyone in every planet is carried, just as clouds are carried by the wind. It's all due to time. There's a point here made by Vishwanath that Yudhisthira, being the direct incarnation of Dharma, cannot have had parabdha karma. Does anybody know this term, parabdha karma? These terms specifically enunciated in they're enunciated in the Padma Purana, but they're also enunciated in the Nectar Devotion in terms of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Aparabdha karma is that karma which is unmanifested. Unmanifested karma. So there's a cycle of sinfulness. There's a cycle of our life. It starts off, the first thing that everything starts off with is ignorance. So ignorance is the cause of all bondage, and knowledge is the cause of liberation. Ignorance is the cause of all bondage. And what is that ignorance? Thinking I'm this body and thinking that I'm separate from the Lord. That's basically it. It's thinking that I can be separated from Krishna. And so because of ignorance, what develops is this bija, this seed of sinful desire. So the seed of sinful desire becomes kutam, which later becomes a sinful action, which then transforms into parabdha and aparabdha karma. So this parabdha and aparabdha karma Prarabdha karma is the stuff we're facing right now. It's like our body. Aparabdha karma is that stuff that's up in the clouds and the planets that's not being beamed down to us yet. So Yudhishthira couldn't have experienced Parabdha karma because he's already Dharma personified. So the conclusion is that it's time. Time is the cause of all of these things, rather than his past actions. So then it's kind of a point, scary point is that even if we're perfect, time is going to still make us suffer. But generally, we also hear a point that, we say that at the initiation, the sins are burned up and taken by the guru. Also, I hear that actually it's a devotional service itself that burns up the sins. It's a sensible understanding. But we're not losing all our karma, because if we lose all our karma, then we die. And we go back to Godhead immediately. Lord Chaitanya was asked, they called Lord Chaitanya pure devotee, and what did he say? If I was really a pure devotee, I couldn't even stay in this world. So, anyhow. Time is control. There is control by time all over the space within the universe, and there is control by time all over the planets. All the big, gigantic planets, including the sun, are being controlled by the force of air, as the clouds are carried by the force of air. Similarly, the inevitable kala, or time, controls even the actions of the air or the other elements. Everything, therefore, is controlled by supreme kala, a forceful representative of the Lord within the material world. Thus, Yudhishthira should not be sorry for the inconsumable action of time. Everyone has to bear the actions and reactions of time as long as one is within the conditions of the material world. Yudhishthira should not think that he has committed sins in his previous birth and is suffering the consequence. Even the most pious has to suffer the condition of material nature. But a pious man is faithful to the Lord, for he is guided by the bona fide Brahmana and Vaishnava, following religious principles. These three guiding principles should be the aim of life. One should not be disturbed by the tricks of eternal time. Even the great controller of the universe, Brahmaji, is also under the control of that time. Therefore, one should not grudge being thus controlled by time, despite being a true follower of religious principles. Even though we can't, we can't expect that even if we're, I'm the best devotee, probably when I go to Mangal Artik, still, Kala is there, will affect us. Time is always there. So how do we deal with it? How do we deal with time? How do we deal with the fact that even our devotee friends are temporary, in a sense? Our devotee marriages are temporary. Our devotee everything is temporary. How do we deal with that?
Well, one part is we try to tolerate and not get too attached.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I think the main thing is we have to see that this is all Krishna. We have to stop, even we have affectionate relationships. We have to also see that this is ultimately Krishna. And it's a facility for serving Krishna. And this is a sense of kind of more yogic wisdom, but the heart chakra deals with love, is blocked by grief. Grief happens when we don't recognize that the love was coming from Krishna the whole time. Well, like I had a father. He loved me. He was definitely a challenged person, but he loved me, and I felt his love. Then he died, and I felt grief, lack of love. But realizing that love of the father was coming through Krishna. It was Krishna loving me. And the mother's love, like when you're a baby, the mother's like God, she's like cosmic, I mean, I remember just being like so in love with my mother. Like, she was God to me. And then I realized, my mom, hey, she got a lot of challenges, now, you get older. It's hard to feel that way. But we realized that somehow or another she's empowered, and Krishna's love is coming through the mother and the guru and the Shiksha guru, and that may change. Guru may disappear, may change, things may shift. We have to see that all the love is coming from Krishna. So when I realized that, I feel like, I lost my father, but now I have so many fathers. Krishna's love is still there. There's so many people. Ultimately, the lover is Krishna. Fitting. Okay, we got to go through 16. 16 is one of the most famous verses in the whole Bhagavatam. Yatra dharma suto raja gada panir gada panir vikrodara Krishno stri gandivam chapam surit Krishnas tato vipat. That actually.
Do you remember the one time my brother said Paneer during one of the verses? I don't know if you were there.
Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that. That was funny. Oh, how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. It is irreversible. Otherwise, how can there be reverses in the presence of King Yudhisthira, the son of the demigod controlling religion? Bhima, the great fighter with a club, the great bowman Arjuna with his mighty weapon, Gandiva, and above all, the Lord, the direct well-wisher of the Pandavas. So the point here is that even like it's so amazing when someone dies, we can see, like they're never coming back. It's just this finality of time, that when something finishes, it doesn't come back. It's dead. Time has this finality about it. And we can't go back and change it, and there's nothing we can do. And in that way, we have to, that's why they say the materialists realize, God, that we're not in control of anything. Time is in control. Krishna is in control. Everything is happening by Krishna's arrangement, Krishna's will. We have to work with it. We have to try to fall in line with it. We have to accept it. We have to accept that even our own mistakes are final. We can't go back and change them. So Kala is in control. And Kala will heal us. It will heal us also if we let time take its course. Not something so difficult to tolerate in the beginning. Then in time, it becomes easier and easier and easier and easier to tolerate. And then it doesn't matter anymore. Especially you go through a breakup, it's like, and then in time. Okay, or even someone dies. Very horrible, and then in time, it goes away. So it's all temporary. It's all a trick of time, and that's what we have to realize about this world is it's temporary. All the challenges are temporary. Let us not flip out. It's one of my big sayings I tell myself. Sometimes I do. Only a few times, like one time recently. I tell myself, don't freak, don't freak, don't freak. It's only temporary. I just do not freak out. Like, don't do something stupid. Don't have a bad moment here. And also, another thing is, like people use intoxication to cope with time a lot, but it makes it worse. It makes it so much worse. When you're sober-minded and when you're God conscious, amazing how we can deal with circumstances. And when we chant our rounds nicely, amazing how we can wake up in the morning and be like, it was a bad day yesterday. It's okay, today's going to be better. But if you're intoxicated and you're not chanting nicely, and you don't go to bed nicely, and the next morning you wake up and you haven't digested the day before, and your whole day is just spun out with all these things, and you end up in a vicious cycle. If you can't chant nicely, it's hard to follow principles. It's hard to follow principles, you can't chant nicely. So then you get up in this vicious cycle. So it takes a lot of mercy. It takes taking the lotus feet of a Vaishnava who's doing that nicely and really meditating on trying to be like them. And you make progress. For me, Sandamini sadhana is always inspiring to me. I just think, I'm going to chant like that. And I tell her, visibly we talk about it, and it becomes a friendship rather than a competition. This competition, Krishna always makes us fail. You can't keep it up. When it becomes a friendship, now Krishna says, "Oh, you want to work together? You get all this, all the mercy that I'm giving this person is going to come to this person now, or this person is going to come to this person now." That takes work, takes a certain consciousness. That's why I feel, you'll find the devotees who are really advanced, they're really not thinking they're very advanced. because they're thinking of other devotees who are more advanced. And they see someone with good quality, they feel like, oh, this is good, I glorify it. Because it takes satisfaction. So we have to stop trying to get satisfied from our false things in Krishna consciousness, even our false spiritual egos, whatever, my ashram, my dress, my children, my whatever. Let me be satisfied by my service and the service Krishna gave me. Okay. It's such a beautiful verse to go to 16. All right, but this is such a nice purport. I have to read it too, because this is such a beautiful point Prabhupada makes here at the last line. There is nothing to be lamented when the matter is beyond the control of any human being. That's pretty much everything, FYI. Nothing to be lamented. I can't do anything about it. So some things are beyond our control. That's why, I think one of the best prayers a devotee can kind of understand, there's a prayer, it's called the Serenity Prayer. Dear God, please grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Sometimes you have to say, I say that prayer. I remember I was taught that prayer when I was a little kid by a counselor. Dear God, give me the serenity, the peace to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can. That's also a point. We may want something. We might want to do something in our service or change something in our life, but we don't have the courage to do it. We don't have the courage to make that ask, to make that move. And I've been feeling that recently. I've been feeling a lot of courage, Masuchaha, that, changing directions, doing things differently, speaking my mind more, and experiencing the mercy comes with that.
Have you heard the full Serenity Prayer?
No.
It goes beyond that universe.
I didn't.
Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking as he did this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that he will make all things right if I surrender to his will, I may be reasonably prominent. That's the full Rhino. Just picked up on all these things we've been talking about here.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, 16 is a very important verse. It should be memorized. It's a very important verse. I want to memorize it. I was just thinking about this verse. I need to memorize it today. Nahyasya karichid rajan puman veda vidistitam yadvijigyasaya yukta muyanti kavayopi. O king, no one can know the plan of the Lord, Sri Krishna. Even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered. Oh, actually, it was 17. That was the powerful verse, but this is also nice. 17 is a really powerful one, famous one. The bewilderment of Maharaja Yudhishthira over his past sinful acts and the resultant sufferings, etc., is completely negated by the great authority Bhishma, one of 12 authorized persons. Bhishma wanted to impress upon Maharaja Yudhishthira that since time immemorial, no one, including such demigods as Shiva and Brahma, could ascertain the real plan of the Lord. So what can we understand about it? It is useless also to inquire about it. Even the exhaustive philosophical inquiries of sages cannot ascertain the plan of the Lord. Important point I want to make here. This is a really important point, and it can help you a lot in your devotional service if you understand it properly. There are 4 types of pious people that come to the Lord, and we can name them. The inquisitive, Jigasu. The wise, the Jnani. People in distress, the Artha, and Artharti, the one after wealth. So out of those, who's the best? Why? Because they're situated in knowledge of me, and because they are engaged in performing devotional service. All such souls are magnanimous, Krishna says, but that the wise I consider non-different from myself. But yet he's not a pure devotee. Why is he not a pure devotee? He's too self-obsessed. He's always thinking about my knowledge. I gotta study more. I gotta learn more. I need to, I'm not advanced. I'm analyzing everything. We have a tendency to do that a lot. I mean, I do that a lot. Analyze. You're analyzing so many things in relation to you, and you're not just thinking of Krishna. You think Radharani's thinking about her spiritual advancement? I'm serious. Think that Kunti Devi's thinking of her spiritual advancement? But they don't even think about it because they're thinking, I'm so fallen. I'm so humble. So what to speak of material things? So pure devotee, simply thinking of Krishna with love. Vasudevam Sarvamiti. Krishna is everything. Everything to me. So when you come out of that stage of thinking, I'm progressing and you're analyzing. When you come out of that stage and just humbly try to serve the Vaishnavas and Krishna, and that becomes your meditation, then you're starting to approach the pure platform. You can't artificially do it. It has to be a mercy bestowed upon you where your attraction to Krishna starts becoming rag, it becomes spontaneous. It's a process. We have to go through Narada Nivriti first. There's that process in the Bhagavatam, the second canto. Which, once we get to that, Cheta Etir Navidam, what is it? No. That's the second line, third line of the verse. Anyhow, I'm forgetting the first line. So when the English is that when ignorance and passion, as well as anger and greed, are moved from the heart, lust and greed, kamalobhadesh chaye, lust and greed, are moved from the heart. Cheta etir navidam, one becomes situated. Cheta etir navidam, mind becomes steady. Stitam sattve prasidhvi, and they become situated in goodness. That's when bhava comes down. And that stage of bhava, then it's evam prasana manaso, the mind becomes prasanna, the mind becomes fully happy. Evam prasana manaso, Bhagavad Bhakti Yoga, because one is in contact with Bhagavad Bhakti Yoga. Bhagavat Tattva Vijnana, and one has scientific realization of Krishna. Mukta Sanga Sajayate. Mukta Sanga Najayates. One is fully free from material contamination. So, okay, let's do 17 because it's such a special verse. Tasmadidam daivam tantram vyavasya bharata shaba tasya nuvihito nata pai praja prabho. O best among the descendants of Bharata, Yudhisthira, I maintain therefore that all this is within the plan of the Lord. Except an inconceivable plan of the Lord, you must follow it. You are now appointed administrative head, and my Lord, you should now take care of those subjects who are now rendered helpless. So everything is the inconceivable plan of Krishna. And that's the thing is we can try to find the source of so many problems. We can try to, pinpoint it, fix it, reform it. But it's really Krishna. It's Krishna. And if you read Bhagavatam, you'll see that. It's Krishna. You have a question? This. If you read Bhagavatam, you'll see that. And it's Krishna. Krishna is the cause. All of these things are Krishna. So we understand that this is Krishna. We can at least feel some peace because Krishna is Surat. He's doing it for me. He's my friend. And so how do we transcend all of these nonsense things? We actually do the process. We come together, the leaders, the gurus, the bhaktas, cooks, everybody comes together and they do kirtan and they take prasad together and they read Bhagavatam together. That's the real thing. That will solve all the problems of Kali Yuga. That is the solution. There is no other solution. There's no policy that's going to solve it. There's no GBC that's going to solve it. There's no this or that that's going to solve it. The only thing that will solve it is Harinam Sankirtan. That is it. That's the conclusion of the Vedas. Anybody can argue with me. I'll stand on it myself. Harinam is the solution. Chanting Hare Krishna together is the solution. But it is not focused on enough. Not focused on. We have a thing every morning. We attend Bhagavatam class. Certain devotees are always there. Always feeling peaceful. Always feeling good. Once you start associating with those devotees who are not attending Bhagavatam class, all kinds of craziness. Attending online is the same. But it is your hearing and chanting. But if we don't see like that, or if we make offenses, then we're not going to be able to perceive the reality that the solution is hearing and chanting. And we can start thinking about so much this or that and trying to fix that. You know, what Jesus says is pull the speck out of your own eye before you pull the plank, or pull the plank out of your own before you pull the speck out of another's. Meaning, like stop seeing, the little speck in someone's eye. You have a big plank in yours. You can't even see anything. Well, fix yourself first before you start saying, oh, this person's wrong, and this person's a liar, and this person's a cheater, or whatever. Are you not a liar or a cheater? So if we just focus on each individual focused on their own spiritual life, think about how nice things would be. It is nice when you live in an atmosphere where people are serious. It's nice. But when you have this kind of reform attitude where you're trying to reform, which is not bad in a sense, but in another sense, how are you reforming? Are you reforming with Krishna, or are you reforming with Maya, material solutions? Solution is Krishna consciousness. The solution is Sankirtan. So everything is in control of the Lord. All this is within the Lord's plan. And some devotees really have a hard time accepting that. Think about who we're talking about here. This is Bhishma Deva, a pure devotee, speaking to Yudhisthira, a pure devotee, with Arjuna, a pure devotee there, and Bhima Deva, a pure devotee there, Bhima, a pure devotee. And Krishna's there with them. And they just killed 600 million people and murdered 100 of their cousins. And now their grandfather is laying on a bed of arrows that their grandson shot. This is a pretty bloody situation. And what is Bhishma saying? I'm not mad at you. It's Krishna. I love you because you're following Krishna consciousness. I have a feeling sometimes this is not being understood in ISKCON. That Krishna is seeing our devotional service, and so is the pure devotees. Prabhupada is seeing our service. So all of this stuff, you see how Maya comes in, sneaks in, tries to take us away from Krishna consciousness. I'm going to take you away from hearing and chanting, some way or another. So, in other words, we have to hear and chant nicely. And finally, Bhakti Swami said, I want to die like Bhishma Deva. So, all the people around you, we should think that these people, I could leave my body around all of you. And so I should see that you're the devotees I may leave my body around, therefore I should treat you with the utmost respect and gratitude, all that good stuff. Okay, we'll conclude here. Bolam, Hari Bol.